right, all right, all right. What's good? What's good, everybody out there in YouTube land? This is Stormy B Man from the Stormy B Man channel, and welcome to another edition of the Friday Night Chop Session. This is May 24th, Friday evening, 2019, and we come to you with good tides and grace and wishes. And for tonight, I want to introduce. I've got couple of good people on here with me. My right-hand man, Hyphy, is in the house, and the one and only Ack Reacher, also known as Cuatro Cinco. I want to say good evening, fellas, and thank you for joining me this evening. How you doing, brothers?
What's going on, Storm? Be good to be on here, man, with you and my brother, man. I don't even be seeing hype like that no more, man. Hype be like a ghost coming in and out and shit. But yeah, it's good to be on here with y'all, man. It's good chopping it up with y'all.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, man. When we when we started doing live streams on this channel, it was myself, Hyphy, and Ronald Finkley, and I think we had Abel Mojave on here with us, my very first live stream. And what was funny was that I wanted to do something a little bit different because I know how everybody gets on there and they talk about the topics of the day and this and that, and they give their angles and everything. But what I was trying to do is, from my point of view, just kind of talk boxing strict with the X's and O's and everything, me with my background in coaching and stuff like that. And I just thought I'd bring a different perspective. But what's been really cool is I've had a lot of support from brothers from the other channels and a lot of the people who participate in the chats from the other channels. And it's been nothing but positive things. My subscribers have gone up, my views to the channel have gone up tremendously over the just past 28 days. I've had almost 3,000 views to my content. That's everything that we're doing. We got the Friday night chop session, the videos that I released through the week, and also the Three Wise Men of Boxing program that I kickstarted with Kirk and Scrapbook. And it's been a lot of positive feedback from that. So I would like to continue that. But what I like to also do is bring those familiar faces like yourself, Ack, on the channel to talk with me and talk with our people out there in the chat and everything, to let them know that this is still a LDBC oriented channel, and I have affiliations with you brothers, but I also just like to share and give you guys platforms, like when you're not busy doing anything else. You're welcome to come and chop it up with me. So everything is done with respect here. I don't have anything where I try to like disrespect people or call them out or whatever. And the people in my chat, I try to stay involved with them. I read their chats and everything. So that's basically what the chop session is all about here. And we have some fights coming up this weekend. We can talk a little bit about that. But before I say anything else, I would like to give you brothers a chance to talk, Hyphy and Quattro, if you guys got something you want to offer up to open up, because it's a Freedom Friday type thing as well. So I'll throw it you guys' way.
Uh, did you did you want to say something, Hyphy?
Oh yeah, you got it first, Zach.
Oh no, well, I just want to say, uh, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Hyphy and Stormy B. I like what you're doing, and uh, I see that you're moving, brother. I gotta make sure, on this page that I gotta make sure that I think I'm subscribed to you on my other channel, not through this channel. So I gotta make sure I sub to your channel on this channel, because I remember you kind of started around that time they banned my main channel.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah.
yeah, that's why I subbed. That's why I'm subbed to you on my other page. So I gotta make sure that I go on my main page and subscribe to you. Um, like what you doing though, but Keep doing it. Focus. Stay consistent. You know, and that's good that you get positive reviews on everything. Now as far as boxing topic related, I mean, in my opinion, there's not too much crazy going on. At least nothing. To me, that's Terrell Goucher and Austin Trout. They're fighting this weekend. Shout out to those brothers. But I gotta be honest. I'm not checking for that fight. Don't shoot me down, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. It's a good style matchup, but I'm not too crazy about it. Devin Haney's fighting. I expect him to maul over this guy, and I think the E2 versus Jamal Heron is the most interesting fight this weekend to me, because that's around my weight class, that 130, and I ain't gonna lie, that's who I would have went after too. If I would have been pro already, I'd have went after E2. So I'm kind of a little jealous that Jamal Heron got that shot, but good luck to him. That's fight I'm gonna be checking for out of all of those this weekend. That one. I'm not sure if that one's on ESPN Plus or if it's on regular ESPN. I think it's on regular ESPN.
I think it's regular ESPN. I did a little small short video on that on those two fights you mentioned. The Devin Haney, I haven't even shown much interest in what's going on with him at all. I just can't get into the guy at this particular time. Maybe I'll pick up some steam as far as watching him, but I'm just not feeling him right now. And that's not trying to throw salt or nothing. It's just like I don't feel any electric you know when I watch him. I know I watched him against that last opponent that he had that was on what was it, on ESPN, I think, where the guy took him the distance, and he had to box his way to victory, but he didn't look too good doing it. I just felt like the opponent was there to dance with him, but didn't try to win. And when comparatively, when I look at Shakur Stevenson, they're putting him in situations where he's showing a little more, with each outing, and I like that because it's kind of like that learning curve, development, and progression at the same time. And so I'm more eager to tune in to him. But there's something about Haney he just hasn't tickled my fancy yet on what he's doing. But on that Ito fight that you mentioned, yeah, I had said in my video, I think that's going to be the fight of the weekend. I think, and it should be action packed. I think that's going to be what people want to see if they decide to tune in. It's like, for some reason, Herring reminds me of Kevin Kelly. I don't know about you, Quattro. I know you from the East
Yeah,
Coast.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the brother remind me of Kevin Kelly, man. He's a southpaw too, and
The
I'm like, wait a minute,
pullover,
this guy look like Kevin
smile,
Kelly.
and the
His
smile.
style,
I met Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly is the fastest talking New Yorker boxer I ever met in my life. He
I know,
talks so
right?
fast.
I always did like him. He was a thrilling fighter as well, man. Kevin Kelly was never in a bad fight, man. But boy, you're right. The guy can talk too, 100 miles an hour. But he's all good. But Herring, who also goes under that moniker Semper Fi, it's like I'm like, man, this guy's a straight character. But that's the first thing I saw when I was looking at some highlights of him. I was looking at some of his fights, and I was like, who is he? I was like, Kevin Kelly. That's who he remind me of. So, but yeah, this should be a good fight. This should be a really good fight. Ito is a kind of a guy. He's kind of heavy-handed, but he don't have good defense. And he can make for some action-packed fights if he's in there with a opponent that's gonna strike back. So I do want to see what's gonna happen with this one. So I want to say take a moment and acknowledge some people in the chat. We got Abel Mahari out there, Cass G, Derek Bailey, Clifton Bronson, Troll Boxing Talk. What's up? we also have Sheldon Holmes. He says, Stormybman on the road traveling to cigars and sundresses and a pig roast, but I'm in here listening. All right, Sheldon Holmes, salute, brother. What's good with you? Thanks for stopping by. Okay, Hyphy, you there, brother? You got something to say?
Oh yeah, man. I just got to the crib, but you know what I'm saying, definitely having fun chopping it up with y'all as usual. What's up, my brother Ack? Look, we already know, you know, there was gonna be this little what we call a boxing drought. It's not a whole bunch of excitement this weekend, and it's gonna carry over for some other weekends, you know, going into the summer. But that's why I've been telling everybody, look, we got to be appreciative of the 2 weekends we got back to back. All right, you had the main fights, and then surrounding those main fights, you had good fights. So you had some good fights. It wasn't just, oh, you know, just one fight every Saturday night. It was some good fights, man. Just really, really exciting days for boxing. So, you know, everybody just got to be appreciative of what we already had. And then on top of that, bro, we just, if, you know, everybody claiming, oh, we want to see the best fights, the best fight, the best. The last 2 weekends, we've been seeing that in multiple divisions. Y'all can't be going around talking about that one big fight everybody like to talk about and dissing that title holder in the UK. Y'all got to stop talking about that. It's other stuff to talk about. Hell, even Deontay himself said, look, leave all that BS alone. Stop all these negotiations, talking about it, blah, 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 all this public nonsense. Leave that stuff alone. If y'all supposed to be boxing fans, it's a lot more stuff going on. To me, you know, dude shouldn't even be talking about that dude. BFTB destroy him enough. That should be enough. I don't want to see nobody else even talking about him. I heard Blood say the other night he gonna start unfollowing, you know, some of these LDBC channels if they keep up with all the business talk. And I'm straight with them. Just leave that stuff alone, man. That is pretty much it, man. Leave all of this BS alone. I'm tired of hearing about the business, the A side. Man, I'm not trying to hear none of that. It's some good fights going on. Pay attention to these good fights. I'm gonna drop the mic on that.
Yeah, I feel you on that, Hyphy, because you know, Kurt and I, we've had some conversations like, and we talk about fights on the other show, the Three Wise Men, along with Scrapbook, and the great fights that we bring up and talk, dude. The last thing, if anything, was ever talked about was the purses and money for those matches, those great fights from the past and everything. People wanted to see the figures, and meaning the men in the sport. They didn't care about the money, even though we feel like, yes, they should earn a decent wage for what they do, putting their lives on the line. What we're saying is that it never interfered with the bouts taking place. The only time that would happen was when someone with foolish advisement from management not accept a match because they thought that their worth was more. Like in the case of Aaron Pryor against Roberto Durán, they were trying to make that fight, and he was offered. Kurt's not with me right now. I can't remember the figure he was offered for Durán, but also it was similar when he was offered 700,000 to fight Leonard, and he thought that he should get 1 million. And in retrospect, he even admitted later that he took bad advisement. And that fight was ready to go. He was fighting on the Leonard undercard, and they were going to build that up for the next fight. But he didn't want to take the 700,000, which would, at that day and time, would have been his highest purse. So he missed out on a great fight with Leonard, not because Leonard was afraid of him or running from him or anything like that, but they made what they thought was a very reasonable offer to him at the time, and his management advised him against taking that amount. But see, it was because that management was trying to squeeze more out for themselves. You understand? That's what happened. But today, guys use their placement in rankings. They use their titles that they have and everything as a means of not fighting the best opposition. It's really ridiculous how it's gotten that way. And now the fans, the spectators of the sport, have started to participate in that. And I think it's quite foolish when you see guys talking in another man's pockets. I talk about this to this extent only because I don't agree with that and I don't like it, and I don't really like to do it on my channel. But it's something that is very prevalent out there. And as Deontay Wilder said at the end of his fight this past week, you know, the fans should push for the fights. Stop worrying about the purses and all of that, because money is there, because people will pay to see good fights. They will. But if you give fighters an excuse to hide behind, they'll do that, and they'll avoid as much as they can. So with that being said, that's what I have to say about that.
Hey, and Stormy.
Yeah.
And see, look, we about to make the trolls mad and bored, and they just gonna leave. We got them coming in right now already. I done already smacked a couple of them, but look, I'm telling y'all, if y'all want to hear us debate who's the A side between the two heavyweight champions, look, y'all not gonna hear that on this show, man. So y'all might as well just save yourselves some time, some typing, some wasted energy. Y'all might as well get on. We're not even about to talk about them on this show. Y'all can get the hell on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we like to talk the good aspects of the sport of boxing. And since we're coming to the end of the week after last week's thrilling performance by our heavyweight champion, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, I did a post-fight. I did a post-fight stream where, Quattro, I wanted to tell you that it was my highest rated produced project ever. It's like, you know, the views just came in, man. It's like, and I knew because Deontay's performance, it went viral, all of the millions of people watching the fight and stuff like that. But what was really nice was that we gave an honest assessment of what we saw and everything. And then I did a final word video. But coming into this weekend, I just kind of wanted to put it out there. If you guys wanted to say some actual real final things about Deontay's performance, or what you thought about how the luster and the charisma behind him and what he's doing in the sport right now, how he's growing. He's like shooting like a rocket now, like a star, you know, and it's really nice to see, especially on the heels of what they were trying to do to him, you know, during those negotiations and stuff that he was trying to have, you know, to face that other champion. And to see him now in his own lane and how he's taking off. Man, I love that. And he's doing it, he's building his own brand. For those who were saying that it was something totally different and negative or whatever, he's starting to really hit his stride. Don't you feel so, Quattro?
Yeah, I was at the fight. I posted footage and stuff when I was there. I was there. I met BFTB there. I met the homie Drew Titan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the homie Drew. I know Hyphy probably is. I'm not sure if you are, Stormy, but yeah, I met him also at the fight. So only one I ain't really get to run into was Blood and Focus Ball. But I mean, sorry, Blue Blood. Um, and but the fight was great. Couldn't complain. It was over quicker than I anticipated. I'm not gonna lie. And after that, he won two. You know, I'm happy for the brother, man. Everything is happening, and then it's like he's doing good, and then at the same time, the zone is going bankrupt and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, but
But
see, they were the ones that were saying, you know, that ugly stuff, talking about they were gonna freeze him out and all of that. Remember? And then, you know, they were saying that nobody knows who he is. He's just a guy from Alabama and all of that foolishness. And here it is. The guy is starting to be such an electrifying presence in the ring people want to see him again. You know, it's like, even though that fight ended very early, and I know you just said you were there, but even though it ended early, there's a gratification that you saw something exciting, and it's like, when can I see this guy again? You see, and if you really pay attention to his last few fights, they have all been that way. Going back to Stavern rematch, all the way up to last Saturday, every outing is exciting. Even the Fury fight, it was exciting. And the thing about it is, we haven't had that for an American heavyweight champion since Mike Tyson. Because even though Evander Holyfield was a champion after Tyson, and then you had Lennox Lewis and, different other fighters who had pieces of the title, Michael Moore and all those guys, but nobody was exciting like Tyson was. And he was just electric. People would fill the stadiums to see his performances, because even if they were short-lived, he was just exciting, because he would get in there and he would throw shots, and he was hurting people. And it was exciting to look at. And people like, at the end of the day, people like train wrecks. They do. They want to see smash ups. And that's what Tyson was delivering at that time. Well, guess what? The Bronze Bomber is delivering the same thing, boy. And it's in devastating fashion. He is knocking people heads off, man. And that is what sells. Emmanuel Stewart, rest his soul, the great trainer, said, knockouts sell. Knockouts. That's what people come to see. And this man is delivering.
Hey, and your man's like Clifton Bronson, he up in the chat talking about it. He's saying, hey, just like y'all be saying, people really don't remember about, a whole bunch of conversation and just even writing a whole bunch of press about, money and all type of stuff. So yeah, we pretty much not on that. I like what Clifton Bronson up in the chat saying. We on the same thing. We not on that type of stuff at all.
Absolutely. And salute to Clifton Bronson, because what you're saying, Clifton, is exactly what, Kurt and I were saying. We were reminiscing, in our shows about fights of the past, and money never came up in the conversation. It was always about the matches, what took place during the matches, how the fighters responded to adversity and this and that, trainers' philosophies and, tactics that were used. Boy, never were we talking about paydays or anything. So I don't know. Nowadays, everything is so superficial. People like luster, but they don't like substance. People like glitter, but they don't want what's solid. It's like it's crazy to me. And I'm an older guy, but these younger people who are like that are missing out on so much of what the sport has to offer. And because I have a couple of young brothers on the panel with me this evening, you guys, can you speak to the notion of how you feel about that?
What do you mean exactly? You mean as
Well,
far as
like, like how you feel about how nowadays everybody is just talking about, superficial things like the purses or who's the A side or something, instead of talking about, you want to see this match between this great guy and this great guy. How do you feel about that? Being a young guy yourself, do you share those sentiments, or do you?
I don't. To me personally, I don't. I'm not the one that tries to bring up the purses and stuff like that. I'm more the one that likes to just talk about the fighting aspect of it. Only time I get kind of like lured into that is when certain bring it up at first. You know what I mean? And but me personally, you won't catch me being the one to bring it up or start off the conversation by saying, "Oh, this fight ain't worth that," and this. I'm actually the one that I don't really like. I'm more the one that if you believe in yourself, I feel like go ahead and try it, like the Teofimo and the Lomachenko thing, for example. I don't care about the purse and stuff and all of that other stuff. I just want to see. I just would like to see that fight. So that's just how I feel about it personally. you know, things like that. Me personally, me being a young dude, like I just don't feel like it should be too important unless it concerns you personally. You know what I mean? But like when dudes try to bring up those arguments though about this fighter is worth this and this fighter is worth that, if you're more knowledgeable and you got to put them in their place about, you know, this person's, fights and telling the level and then I understand. But me personally, I don't like bringing it up. I don't care too much. I'd rather just talk about, which 9 times out of 10 I do. Only time I feel like money comes up is when they bring up Joshua and Wilder. You know, I don't even hear about money so much, except for recently with Terrence Crawford and Earl. But it really, I always hear that with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua.
Well, I will say this to piggyback on what you're saying, Ak. Um, it does start at the top with those guys, but it's actually in almost every championship weight division, except for when you get down to the smaller guys. And when I say smaller guys, I'm talking about when you get under 140, those guys down there just fight, man. You got a few duckers down there, you know, like Santa Cruz, those guys are ducking. There's certain people they didn't want to fight or whatever. Like they were avoiding Guillermo Rigondeaux, which is like ridiculous. That man, what they did to him, it's a crying shame that he didn't get a chance to match his wares against those guys, and he had to take such a hellified risk to move up to fight Lomachenko, who was way bigger than him. And even though it was two Class A fighters going against each other, it would be like asking Canelo to go up there and fight Deontay Wilder. So it's like, come on. But anyway, I want to take a moment and go back to the chat because we have a few more names that have joined us. Um, Clifton Bronson said, I never remember talking about money in boxing except when my dad would brag about how much the heavyweights made. Also, reading the clippings in Scrapbook's 1940s series, they didn't write about money. Absolutely. And he says, but the attendance and or when the fighters raised money for the military. Exactly. Joe Louis did a tremendous amount of charitable work for the military, which is why it's hard to understand that he had to be a greeter at Caesar's Palace as an old man, as a senior and everything. What they did to him was atrocious, man. After all the service he gave them, he pretty much most of his heavyweight championship reign, he was in the military. So I don't even want to think about that right now. I don't want to get off track. Um, Clifton Bronson also says, and they had more round by round breakdowns. Yes. J.A. Dixon, who has joined us, says, salute to everyone in the building. Dark Truth joined us. He says, salute to the panel, salute to the chat. Muhammad is the one, says, salute Hyphy and Stormy B, man. Muhammad is the one. We got Ak Reacher on the panel with us tonight also, brother. Clifton Bronson also says, facts. I agree. He is this generation's Mike Tyson, Wilder is. I guarantee kids will cry when the Bronze Bomber eventually lose, but not to no one right now, like I did when Tyson lost. And CB Sports joined us, says, salute Stormy B-Man and the panel. CB, we were asking, we wanted to find out, would you like to join us this evening? And also Clifton Bronson says, what I love and adore about Wilder is he is not a spectacle like Mike Tyson was. He is the real deal. And I used to give Tyson a pass on his circus acts back in the day. Wow, never knew that about Joe Louis. Shaking my head. Yeah, Clifton. Joe Louis was in his later years. He was a greeter at Caesar's Palace. He had tax debt with the U.S. government and everything that they didn't just, they could have wrote that off and said, hey, he's the Brown Bomber. He's served the military. He's won the accolades and represented America well when he went back in there in that Schmeling rematch and crushed that dude. You know, he was the representation of America and their strength, a black heavyweight champion in the time of World War II. and they, you know, they hung him out to dry in his later years, and it's such a disrespectful thing. There's a great documentary
You know,
on that. Go ahead.
you know, you know, one of the old heads of Harlem told me that one time when Joe was retired and he was kind of hurting, Frank Lucas like had really gave him, and there's a scene like that actually in the deleted scenes that was really true. Like he really had wrote him a check and gave him money, and he offered to pay Frank Lucas back, but Frank loved Joe, so he would never tell him to pay him back or anything like that. But yeah, man, just a fun fact, just a fun fact.
Yeah, and it was that type of thing that great, great fighters over the years looked out for Joe as well. A lot of people did come to his assistance, but it wasn't as much help as what was really needed. And what was really needed was the country to take care of him. They should have.
Yeah, you're right.
They should have, especially for what he did for the country. I mean, at a time when we saw the likes of number 45 join baseball, Jackie Robinson and everything, what they wanted out of the black athlete. Joe Louis gave them that and then some, and was still kicking tail, and they just kind of dissed the brother. They really did, and it's not a nice thing to reflect upon, but it also shows exactly what this country thinks of you. And you can never forget that. It is always something that is put in your face at each and every wake and turn. That's why it's difficult to see when a person like last week's challenger to the heavyweight title say things at a press conference like he did, that Urban Dictionary comment and all of that. It made it much sweeter when Deontay went upside his head. You understand? That was like a shot to the jaw for everybody like him and the people like him try to please. You understand? That's why he got knocked on his ass. So we got Ravens Nation who has joined us. Also, Clifton Bronson said the real Captain America. Yeah, Joe Louis. Ravens Nation says salute Stormy. Legendary Topcox who's joined us says peace, peace. Sir Ken, what's up? Says Stormybman, salute, and salute to the panel and wrenches, and salute to the chats. Smash the like button if you have not. Thank you. Yes, please smash the like button if you're watching with us this evening. We got the chop session going, and my man Hyphy and Ak Reach are on the panel with us. We were trying to wait to see if Kurt Sugar was going to join us, but he might be out enjoying that weather. He told me he might come in a little late. So Hyphy, regarding this fight that's coming up this weekend, do you know much about Herring and Ito or either guy? Because I know you watch the lower weights like I do.
Yeah, Ito, not so much. Definitely know about Herring. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some of his fights. I know it's for a vacant title. I would favor Herring just because I've only seen one Ito fight. So yeah, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not, the most qualified to speak on Ito. So naturally, yeah, I'm gonna favor Herring just because I know about him more.
Hyphy, E2's the champ. It ain't for a vacant title. He the champion.
I said vacant. My bad. I said, yeah, I know it's for a title. My bad. I said vacant.
He beat my boy Chris Diaz.
Yeah. My bad. I said vacant. But yeah, I know. He's a champion. But like I said, I'm not going to act as if I know this guy the most or know the most about him. I don't. Like I said, I've seen Herring more. So this is more just like a fight. I wouldn't, speak too much on it. I would just, sit back and watch it. Because, like I said, the Ito, I don't know him that much.
Yeah. What about you, Quattro? Do you know much about either guy? I know they're around your weight class.
Yeah, I definitely do. E2 he most of his fights was in Japan, but he fought like a few others. He fought on that all Asian card with Inu. It was Inoue and a couple other dudes. Not that Inoue, the other one. Not the Inoue we know, not the monster, the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was like a Japanese card. It was weird. That was the last time I think I seen him fight. But yeah, he doesn't have boxing experience like that. He's actually comes from a kickboxing background. E2.
Oh,
E2 had no amateur fights, but was able to beat a very experienced amateur and pro and Chris Diaz, who I really respect. That's my dude right there. You know what I'm saying? Had a sparring session with him. And he beat, and I was so surprised that he beat him because everybody favored Chris Diaz to win, and he ended up stopping him. So E2, for somebody that did, he kind of like learned kind of quick. For he's not extremely athletic, he's more of a power puncher, but I think it's gonna be interesting. Now Jamal Heron, I think he's a taller guy, and it shouldn't be an issue. With him establishing the jab, he got a decent jab. He's not a big puncher like that. I just see him being able to, standardly box, being able to control the distance and stuff like that. That's basically what I see him being able to do the whole fight. He's nothing really too special about Jamal here, but I expect him to edge out the victory and by using his size basically.
what do you think about Ito's chin, though? What do you think about that, Act?
I think it's suspect. If I'm not mistaken, he been down, right?
I haven't seen him down in any of the highlights of him I watched, and I have to admit that I've only taken highlights that I use to kind of study his style and everything. But in all the footage that I saw, I didn't see a knockdown. But if he's been dropped, I need to know what fight that is so I can revisit it.
Probably be a Japan fight, so we wouldn't know. But uh, he hasn't been since I know of. He seems to have had a solid chin, but I haven't seen him get hit too solidly. Like he'll get hit, but it's not like crazy flush and clean. Jamal Heron, I feel like because he's not fighting somebody, because he normally E2's fighting dudes around or near his size. I feel like Jamal Heron got a nice size advantage over him.
Okay.
I always thought that Jamal Heron was a lightweight. That's why I didn't know where the hell he came. He came from in the 130 bracket because I could have sworn he was fighting that lightweight. But anyway, it is what it is. You know,
Yeah, he's probably trying to drain out a little bit to squeeze out an extra opportunity because he figured like if he could get a title there, then move on up. That's probably what he's thinking, maybe.
yeah, that's what he'll do because That's the reason why I would go after WBO because when you're the WBO in one weight class, the next weight class up, you become the mandatory.
Yeah. So that's
So if he moved up the
business.
lightweight, he would be able to fight Lomachenko. If Lomachenko would take that fight, he would be the mandatory eventually.
Yeah, that's business there.
Because that's
Um,
if y'all pay attention, that happened with Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe
right,
Saunders just won the vacant title that Gilberto Soto Ramirez just vacated. So
right. Um, I didn't get a chance to talk with you, Act, about last week's other fights. And before we move even further going forward, I wanted to kind of get your take on the Inoue Rodriguez result and the Josh Taylor and Baranchik fight. I wanted to know what you thought about those fights.
okay, as far as a lot of people, um, know probably mainly how I feel, but I know since you didn't get to hear me directly. Me personally, I knew Inoue was going to win. And I was trying to tell my brother Mac this. Mac doesn't have a belief, and the other brothers share this disbelief. Inoue really isn't the Loch Ness that y'all used to in them old black and white days. You know, they don't seem to be believing that. But you got to understand, this man is a 3 weight division champion. And the thing that I give him most credit for, see me, boxing and really being into it, I ain't gonna lie, that's not easy moving up weight classes and you still having devastating power like that. Give him credit for that as a man. It don't matter what color he is. It don't matter who you are, what age bracket you in. You got to give him credit for that. All grown men can't do that. Go up in different weight classes and they power is still traveling, moving up. That's kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
on top of that, he's the lineal because Manny Rodriguez was the #1 guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they gave him that belt. That other belt too, you know what I mean? So he won the IBF. They didn't put the WBA on the line, even though he was the regular champion. I like to say the secondary black belt, but because he's gonna fight Nonito Donaire for it in the finals because Nonito Donaire has the super WBA belt. So that's why they didn't put it on the line. But he won because Manny Rodriguez had the IBF belt. He won the IBF belt that night. So he's going to have a chance in the finals to win the Ali trophy and the super belt.
Yeah.
I would have to give him credit, and then I'm going to jump on the fight. I'm just going to say, Inoue, you have to give him credit for Nonito Donaire. Nonito Donaire fought as high as featherweight at 126 and won a belt there. It's not like he just campaigned there like a lot of these goofballs did. He won a belt there. He lost to Frampton and all of that, but it is what it is. He's still fought as big as there. He's back down at 118. He has a big size advantage for all of these dudes. That's why I knocked out that other dude, and he's going to the finals. That pulled in for Tete. I don't remember the dude's name, but yeah, he's a big dude. At that weight. So I just feel like you got to give Inoue even more credit, than you give him because he'll be really knocking out, especially if he hurts him and stops him. He'll be stopping a way bigger dude than himself.
Yeah.
Hey, well, look like we got some pushback because your man Oddfella just came in here talking about he ducked that whole Superfly 115-pound division when it was heating up.
Stop it, bro. He couldn't make the weight.
Yeah, he couldn't make the weight.
I'm gonna tell
man.
you, like Virgil Hunter said when they was offered the Adonis Stevenson fight. You know what I mean? It was no money in it. Okay. Okay, now y'all made me pull that card. And to be honest with you, still though, he beat that whatever dude down there at that weight class who also was a #1 dude. I can't remember his name. It start with a P. You know what I mean? Inoue beat him too. So it's not like he couldn't make the weight no more. He couldn't make the weight no more. You know what I mean? So it was time to move up. And he's just fought a #1 dude. The #1 dude at 118, he just obliterated.
Well, I'll tell you something. My take on the Rodriguez fight with him, man. Rodriguez, this is the whole thing. When you got a guy that has what Inoue has, and that's that, fight-ending power, right? That's what it's turning out to be for him. You have to fight a certain type of a fight tactically, and you have to stick to your guns in it. You cannot be pulled out of what your game plan is, because if you do, you give a fighter like that everything as far as advantages, because He's there to knock you out. You're there to win the fight. You're not necessarily there to knock him out, because winning is winning. You understand? But he's there to knock you out. So the thing is you have to make it where he can't knock you out or don't knock you out. So that being said, the first round of the fight is how Rodriguez was supposed to fight the entire fight. Now, in the second round, he had a lapse in concentration, got caught up in exchanges, and got taken out. It was like there was such a difference between round one and round two. It really showed me something about the fighters of today and how much they really learn. And I say this all the time, and Hyphy knows, he's been with me. I say it all the time. A lot of these guys win titles before they even learn how to fight. Because the first round, when he backed Inoue up, he kept his guard up, he initiated the fight. It was almost like a smaller version of what was happening when J-Rock took the fight to Jarrett Hurd. First of all, Jarrett Hurd wasn't prepared for that, but J-Rock, who could fight, he's a multi-dimensional fighter. He can fight different ways. But their tactic was to take the fight to Hurd early, take the fight out of Hurd in the midst, and then, if necessary, box him later. Well, it turned out that Hurd couldn't fight but one way, and they were efficient at what they were doing, so they kept it up the entire fight. They mixed it up at times, but they kept Hurd off balance. Well, in the first round, Rodriguez was fighting Inoue like that, and in the second round, he came out like I was hoping he wouldn't come out in the first round. It was like he came out lackadaisical and everything, got caught, got hurt, got shook, got his face busted up right away, all at the same time. And then it was over for him. And all of that was a lack of discipline and a lack of sticking to what he had to do. You guys like that, you have to be able to stay on your P's and Q's until he starts to show a chink in the armor. And the chink in the armor comes when you get body work in, you get your pound of flesh in, and you allow fatigue to become a part of the process. Because guys who are used to knocking people out are not necessarily used to going a certain amount of rounds or fighting for a certain amount of time. See, because they're used to knocking people out, people going down from their power. So, you know, it's a certain amount of energy spent doing that. But if you can make them expend different types of energy, being forced back, having to push, shove, you're in clinches, you're wrestling, you're doing different things tactically, it takes apart him mentally. It's a psychological thing along with a physical thing. And that's where Rodriguez had a tremendous drop off from round one to round two. And when he got knocked out, I just looked at the TV. I was like, look at this. He should have just gone out there to get knocked out like that in the first round. Because like I said, the first round was how he was supposed to fight. And he was good. I thought he won the first round. Because Inoue needed a certain distance to get his shots off and everything. But Rodriguez kept him at a certain distance and pressed the action. In other words, Inoue was fighting off the back foot where he didn't really want to. And he was punching and throwing shots in certain exchanges when it wasn't efficient. He wasn't landing the shots he wanted to land. Second round started. This guy stood at a certain distance, let him get his shots off, and he got nailed in an exchange. It was like, oh man, it was like night and day. Did you see that of what I'm talking about, Act?
Yeah, I do agree. Like the first round, he did definitely fought. He looked like a different person psychologically. Second fight, it looked like Inoue did gauge the distance and set up the shots.
Yeah, it's like he
He
didn't
put the
put
right
himself
pieces
in
together.
the best position in the second round. It was almost like he had a false sense of confidence or something like, yeah, I won that first round. And he walked out there and walked into some shot. It was like, dude, what are you doing? You know? And again, something like that, you got to be prepared to do that for at least 7 rounds, at least. And I say 7 because 6 is a halfway point, right? But when you talk about 7, you know that you have laid a certain groundwork. And if you have any other tactics and tricks to pull out, after 7 is when you start working on that stuff. That's what Andre Ward did to Sergey Kovalev in their first fight. He got dropped early, which made them have to change their game plan up a little bit quicker. But what Andre Ward did was make Sergey go backwards a little more than he wanted to, or he turned him on angles, and he made Sergey expend more energy than he's accustomed to expending because he's usually coming forward at people. Andre took that away from him by getting close to him, bodying him, banging him on the hips, banging him on the side and his ribs and stuff, and turning. So it's like you expend more energy and it wears on you psychologically because you begin to feel your fatigue. You say, wow, what's happening to me? And in the meantime, the other guys punch you in the mug and you're not able to get off the shots you like to get off, meaning Sergey in that instance. That's how that fight turned for Andre's favor tactically. That was their game plan going in, but he didn't want to do that so soon. He was going to lure him into that. But the knockdown changed things because when getting that knockdown, that Sergey, because of where he was and the color of his skin and all of that, was probably up 2 rounds before the first bell rang. You understand? So the knockdown made Ward and his trainer change up what their game plan was. I want to take a moment and acknowledge some people in the chat. The Odd Fella and Legendary Top Cats have joined us. Welcome. We've got King Louis is here. King Louis also has subscribed. Thank you, King Louis. Hit that like button too. Please smash the like button. We got Dalton Judge. Says salute chat. Salute at Stormybman. Clifton Bronson says, I like him, but he going for the knockout though. Sir Ken says, yeah, hyphy, I know, but I'm there now and transition to a wrench or the corner that stays professional in my comments in the chats, even when the trolls aren't. The odd fella says, Nonito Donaire is washed, about to be starched by Inoue. Yeah, I agree with that. Sir Ken says, the odd fella salute, and I agree. And so does Clifton Bronson. Jay Dixon says, it's rare these days to see a fighter adjust mid-round. It's like they have to hear it from the corner in order to understand what's going on. Jay Dixon, I want to take a moment and add on to that comment that you just said. This is why fighters like, okay, you see Floyd Mayweather Jr. was the last top-rated black fighter of this modern era who would change in the fight. He would make these adjustments because of his IQ, his boxing IQ. But it is also why other fighters, like from a different era, like a Sugar Ray Leonard, was so dangerous because they could fight, they could box, they could advance, they could retreat, and they knew when to do these things. Sometimes the trainer might have to remind him, as Angelo Dundee did in the 14th round against Tommy Hearns, when he reminded Leonard that he was blowing it and he tried to take the fight away from Tommy Hearns. But it's like Ray was a fighter who could adjust on the fly like that. And those type of fighters are very special because they can assess what's happening. They can process everything at the speed of how they're fighting. And that's when you have a real complete fighter, someone who's capable of doing those things, thinking on the fly, being able to react naturally to what's happening in front of them. and to take acknowledgement of the weaknesses of the opponent. Ray Leonard would look his opponent up and down when they walked back to their corner. If he saw a little wobble in his step or a little shake in him or whatever, he'd jump on him when the bell rang at the next round. Ray Leonard was such an intelligent fighter. He did not get enough credit for that. Not enough credit at all. Act, did you want to say something? I'm sorry, I kind of carried on there.
Nah, and then as far as the I didn't get to tell you how I felt about the Baranchek, the Ivan Baranchek and Josh Taylor. I
Yeah,
just
go
want
ahead. You can go ahead and cook on that now. Go ahead.
I felt like as far as that, it's crazy because I had called Mac and I told him that I felt like he was going to get dropped in this fight because Ivan Baranchek had been dropped in a fight that I had watched on Showbox a couple years back, when he fought Abel Ramos, and Abel Ramos dropped him with a left hook in the third round of that fight, and he got dropped twice in the sixth round of this Josh Taylor fight. With that being said, the fifth round though, it was funny because I seen Josh Taylor kind of got a little winded from the movement, so he had to sit there and he took a couple of shots. His face was a little swelled up and stuff like that. Now, what I want to say is this, and it even changed somebody like Callie, who rated Josh Taylor a little bit high, but even my boy Callie had to admit when I said this, I said now we have to admit Regis Prograde for Relic. Relic and Ivan Baranchek is the same type of dude. So with that being said, Josh Taylor had a way tougher time than Regis Prograde did. So I feel like in my mind, I'm very confident, even though styles make fights, I'm confident. I think Regis Prograde gonna get the victory. I just think that even though Josh Taylor won the fight with Ivan Baranchek, he just struggled just a tad bit too much for old Quattro Cinco over here. He just struggled just a tad bit too much for me. I just felt like Regis Prograde dealt with his assignment way easier. So I can't wait to see that fight. That's a great fight. That's the best fight in the best. I can't complain. I actually have been really enjoying the World Boxing Series. Just like I can't wait to see Nonito Donaire and Inoue in the finals. I think for those fights, fights. I even think the cruiserweight one is pretty cool. Matter of fact, I think that comes on. If I'm not mistaken, I think Andrew Tabiti is fighting on there. If I'm not mistaken, I think. Yeah, I gotta look that up. But yeah, that's how I feel about those fights.
Well, what I would like to say about the Josh Taylor and Baranchik fight was that Taylor was able to show with his skill set. Like I said in my breakdown video, I thought that Taylor fought a lot of fights that were setups, and that's not to discredit him. That was who his matchmakers matched him with. But he was much better than the guys he was beating. But there was some resistance in the fight against Baranchek that let me know that he was for real, but also maybe not as good as touted. Because although Baranchik brought, I think he brought a little more of a constitution, meaning that his inner strength was much more than other guys that Taylor had fought, which is why he could get up from the two knockdowns and keep fighting. But he was limited himself, skill wise. And Taylor had a much more well rounded boxing uh, technique, and he was able to get his second win. That's what you notice, Ack, that he got through that part and that fifth and everything, and it was tough for him. He got the next round, he got the knockdowns, but he kind of hit this little bit of a wall, right, for a moment, and that's when Baranchyk kind of like was still there. He was still a live opponent, but when he got his second win, Taylor, he was able to do the things he needed to do just enough to stay ahead of the guy. But what's going to happen when he faces Prograis is that Prograis has not only a more sterner constitution than Baranchyk, he has a heavier punch, and he has a better skill set. So now Taylor is going to be in that position that I spoke of Rodriguez against Inoue. He's going to have to fight a perfect fight, because if he gives Prograis an opportunity, Prograis is going to break him down, and he's going to stop him. He's going to impose his will on him. And that's what's going to be exciting to see, because it's a great contrast in styles. I had said that the contrast with Baranchyk was good for him, and I kind of likened it to Gotti Ward, but except for Baranchyk he was a little more limited than Micky Ward was. Micky Ward had boxing skills and a great left hook to the head and the body. Well, Baranchyk just had his big left hook, but his left hook is contingent upon you just being available to receive it. And that's what Josh Taylor wasn't. He wasn't available. So, but Prograis can break him down in a different manner, which makes for a better contrast of styles and also a more exciting fight. I'm looking for Prograis to stop him late.
Hey, yo, well, yeah. My bad, I got a lot of background noise, but you know, I'm looking at that fight also, and I'm saying, you know, I just think Regis is going to be tougher. Ag made a hell of a point. Yeah, Baranchyk and Relic, they are kind of the same type of guys. I would say Baranchyk got more power, you know, like a little bit more power in both hands, but you know, it is a hell of a comparison. I just think, you know, I feel the same as far as what you said about the outcome. Yeah, I just think that Regis is just gonna, you know, he's just gonna put more pressure on him than Baranchyk could, and I just think he's more durable, which will allow him to. And you know, I don't know if it's gonna be a stoppage or not, but I definitely see him, you know, winning the rounds also. So you know, hey, it might be a decision, could be a late stoppage, just due to you know, amount of punishment he take. But you gotta like Taylor, because y'all gotta remember that was only his 15th fight. When he fought O'Hara Davies, that was a fight where he was an underdog. He also beat a dude, Miguel Vasquez, who was a very crafty fighter. So I don't feel like all of his fights, you know, in the past were like the easiest fights. But then at the same time, like I said that about a whole bunch of the fighters also. So yeah, he, you know, that dude, look, he a UK fighter with heart, and he up for the challenge. You got to love that out of a fighter itself. So that's why I feel, even though he going to lose, I think he going to put up a hell of a fight, and I'm going to still like the dude.
Yeah. I want to take a moment and go back to the chat a little bit. We got the odd fella says, look like I fell in at the right time. He says Inoue is overrated. He ducked the super fly division. Also, King Louis says salute. Odd fella says Inoue fled when the master boxer Donnie Donaire was his Mando and teriyaki duck sauce. Okay. And Clifton Bronson says Inoue be sure leaving his head out there though. Yes, Clifton Bronson, that's what I said. I said he's wide open. And for those who don't understand what I mean when I say wide open, because I said it about this guy in particular, because he is. The very first clip I ever saw of Inoue fighting, even though he was knocking another guy out, I was like, dude, this guy is wide open. He's like what Muhammad Ali called it, the washerwoman, where he comes around with his punches, but his chin is like sitting right in the middle and is wide up in the air. And I'm like, my goodness, if somebody is a halfway decent fighter, and they can catch and shoot, parry and shoot, slip, roll, bob and weave and shoot, they're going to nail that guy right on the chin, especially if it's someone who can take his punch and fire back or slip his punch and fire back. He's right there. And what that tells me is when he spars, his sparring partners don't fight back. When he's in the gym working, they're not working on any defense whatsoever. He's pounding bags, he's pounding sparring partners, and he's doing maybe floor exercises, but nothing mindful of defense. This is why fighters like that, they have a very short run. They look awesome at first. You remember Vic Darchinyan? Same thing. Same exact thing. You guys remember Vic Darchinyan, right? He was out there knocking people out and everything. And then what happened? Boom! That was the end of Vic Darchinyan. Huh? Dalton Judge says, salute to the chat. Salute Stormy B, man. Let's see. No, the odd fella says Nonito Donaire is washed up, about to be starched. I think I read that already. What else we got? GG and Clifton. Sir Ken says GG and Clifton Bronson, salute to you both. Derek Bailey says facts at Stormy B, man. Rome Farrock says salute Stormy B, man. Don't forget Hyphy and Akricha in the chat there, Rome. Ramsey Sutin III, peace to the chat and salute to the LDBC. For sure, family. Sir Ken says to the panel, isn't there fights tonight? There might be. I didn't check. Derek Bailey says salute to Ramsey Sutin III. Rome Farrock says, Sir Ken, no fight tonight, but a couple of good ones tomorrow night. Bunton Southtown D-Town says peace. What's good, Bunton? And we got Sir Ken saying smash the like button, people. Yes, please smash that like button. It says we've got like 14, 15 people watching right now. Well, 18 now. I just refreshed it. So we got people listening to us, fellas. Akricha, what do you think what I said about that guy, Vic Darchinyan? Do you remember him?
No, not too much.
Man, I remember Vic Darchinyan. You know, this dude, he made his name off of he had scored like a real nice knockout, and then he ended up beating Christian Maharis, and everybody went crazy over the dude. But Vic Darchinyan was a dude, I don't even think he even know how to spell jab. This was, you know, all power punches. And then he moved up, started fighting guys like what's the African? I forgot his name. He was from Ghana, one of the Ghana fighters. But he lost to some dudes, and yeah, before he even got popular, Nonito had knocked him out. But yeah, this is a dude who just relied on power in his both hands. Didn't know how to set up his shots for shit, and it's sad because he did have power in both hands. We can't deny that, but he didn't know how to set nothing up. You know, I see the comparison you're making about Anui to him. Anui is a dude. Look, man, I'm still gonna give him props because he been knocking all of these dudes out. He been whipping on them. Yeah, he been fighting the best guys in the divisions that he's been in, but the only thing is, like right now, he gonna keep doing that because the dudes he fighting, they can't take his power. But like Axe said, we gotta give him credit because it's not his fault. The other dudes can't take his power, because if that's the case, you know, if he fighting bums, as some people in the LDBC like to say, how come other dudes in his division ain't doing the same thing to these other dudes? He the only one that's running through dudes like that. So yeah, even if he's just a power puncher, hell, some people like to say that about Deontay. He winning these fights clean, fair, and square. You got to give him his credit. I don't know if he really going to be tested at this weight. He might have to move up to bantamweight before he actually get tested, because these dudes, they just can't take his power. So yeah, he going to keep on fighting with his defense wide open. But I do like the fact that he throw punches to the body. But it's just something about him. It reminds me of how Triple G's career went at the beginning. Triple G used to go to the body a lot. He used to be just smashing dudes, and you seen what happened when he finally met guys who could not only take his power, but also knew how to, you know, work around and not get hit as easy and throw something back.
Yeah, he lost to Abner Mares with a split decision that Vic Darchinyan, well, he started getting knocked out. I think that guy Yamanaka from Japan, that dude knocked him out. Nicholas Walters knocked him out. You know, he was knocked out like about five times, 4 or 5 times. But he was that guy. He went in there throwing haymakers, like Hyphy said, with no jab. Now, Inoue throws combinations, and his hands are fast. However, like I said, all of that, let me tell you something, man. Boxing 101. Speed is only good over a distance that it can be measured, which is why I said that Rodriguez in the first round fought him the correct way, because he got close to him. He made him go backwards. And by putting and applying the pressure, Inoue wasn't able to do what he wanted to do. He wants to be the bully. He wants to come after you. You see, so if you cover up or you go backwards, then he's going to come on. And because he's fast-handed and he's heavy-handed, he's going to be pounding you as you're going back. And that's, if you meet force with force, what will happen is, because he's in a, you've taken his strength away from him. You've taken what makes him comfortable away, which is why he lost that first round like he did. To me, in my eyes, they may not have scored it as a loss, but I thought the first round was a win for Rodriguez based on the principle of how he was fighting him. But see, in when fighters like that, if you take the subtleties of what they're accustomed to away, it's like a fan. You have a fan and you throw something in the middle of the fan while the blades are spinning, it's going to get caught up and lock the motor up and stop it. Those fast punches or whatever, you can stick a jab right out there through that mess. A jab will disrupt all of that, because if you throw a jab, you disrupt timing, you see, and timing will beat speed. You could be the fastest guy in the world, but all I got to do is catch you at the right time. And your speed can run you into something. This is why I said guys are winning titles before they learn how to fight. Because based on these principles, if a fighter is complete and has a grasp of these tactics that I'm speaking about, he should fear no opponent across the corner from him. No opponent.
Hey, well, yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and throw in just a random little, appreciation to all these smaller weight dudes, because at the end of the day, even if y'all don't know them, they ain't getting a whole bunch of press and stuff. Like I said, these dudes is fighting the top guys in their division, and if everybody claims that's what they want to see in boxing, you got to be that way about every division. And last time I checked, the dude that everybody talk about most at these lower weight divisions, he ain't fighting nobody at all. So I don't want to hear about that dude at all if y'all ain't gonna talk about these dudes.
Yeah, man. You have to give, well, I left an explanation when I did the pre-fight video on those guys for these fights this weekend. When you watch bigger guys fight, you're excited by, them banging each other, and you could see a guy make a guy miss, and those nuances, right? But when you watch the smaller guys, what happens is the technical aspect of the sport is amplified, is magnified. You could actually see skill sets of fighters when they're at smaller body mass, okay? And then when knockouts occur because they are smaller men, it's more sensational. Because when a guy that's 120 pounds is knocking out another guy who's 118, 120 pounds, he hit him on his chin and he go, that guy can really crack. Because at that weight, with that result, that man is carrying awesome power at his weight. At heavyweights, you expect it. At cruiserweights and light heavyweights, you kind of expect it. At middleweight and welterweight, that's the best of both worlds with speed and power. So it's like it's easy to get behind those guys. But when you're watching the smaller weight guys, the technical aspect of what people do when they apply their craft in boxing, that's what shines. And that's where you get a greater appreciation. Do you feel that way, Act?
Yeah, I feel like you have to give more credit to those smaller dudes because it's not easy to get the knockout like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, not only that, this man is not like he's a natural at this weight. This dude moved up already from three. He's a three weight division champion, so he been a few weight divisions already, and his this power is still traveling.
Yeah.
Man, hey, the hell with it. I'm tired of being nice. Look, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell y'all why these dudes don't be getting the props at the lower weight division. Because it's a whole bunch of little dudes in them weight divisions. I'm talking about 135 and under. It's a whole bunch of dudes calling out that one certain fighter that everybody around here seems to just love for so damn much. All these little dudes is punking the shit out this dude. So that's why y'all don't like none of these weight divisions.
The speed, the angles, and the combination punching of Vasily Lomachenko. That's what you're preferring
Yeah, man. Um, you know, the the lower weights, you know, you're gonna see speed because they small guys. You know, you're gonna see that. But seeing the power or even seeing the defensive ability or capability, that's awesome. When guys can pick shots off, when they could slip shots or kind of, you ever see like an opponent throw a combination of left, right, left, or whatever, and the guy gets under all of those shots and he spins out and he comes back with a couple of jabs or something. Those are the subtleties of the sports that people forget about, but it's like that's what makes it awesome, you know? And sometimes guys with bigger body mass, they get lazy. Let's just be honest. They do, you know? And a lot of things play into that laziness, having to cut weight, you know, moving up, starving themselves, dying at a weight or something like that, all of that. It factors in. But when they're at those smaller weight classes, when there's not much body mass, there's a whole lot going on there, a whole lot going on. I'd like to take a moment to go to the chat. We have some people that have joined us again. Hustler Slim is out there. Says Stormybman salute. He says Hyphy and Axe salute. Finally caught one. Let's see. Clifton Bronson says, "Hey, what about the backflips of Teofimo Lopez?" Well, you know what, man? I'll say
He ain't
something
the only
about
one that did that.
Huh?
He does that too. You ain't never seen him do that? Tank do flips too. That's why I can't. I've seen a lot of fighters do that. Even though I'm not trying to take nothing away from them, it's just me personally. I see a lot of dudes that's athletic like that could do that.
Yeah. For me, all of that has become a part of some guys trying to be entertaining and everything. But I still like the guys who come in there wearing their traditional boxing robe with a hood over their head, and they stand in that corner and they be waiting till their bell ring.
Stormy B killing me.
Yeah, man. Because it's like these guys are about business. It's like, you know what? All that flipping and stuff, yeah. But you expend a lot of energy doing that stuff. Save it for that right hand, for that chin, or that good left hook to the liver or something. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm old school. You know what I mean? I'm old school. And I'm not knocking the guys who can do the flip and all of that, because I'm way beyond the years of doing that kind of thing. But I'm just saying, I have a real definitive appreciation for guys who go in there about business, you know, and get the job done. That's what Joe Frazier used to say. He say, I just wanted to get the job done, you know, whatever his agenda was. That's what he wanted to do. And I think that you know, when fighters exhibit that, it makes it hot. It makes it fiery. Deontay Wilder is like that. He has a little bit of theatrics with his outfits and stuff when he comes into the ring. But my goodness, when that bell rings, he about knocking your head off, Jack. Let's see. Sir Ken says, I love all weight classes. I just tune in to see a good fight. I also feel that the 140-pound class is about to make some noise in late 2019 into 2020. Yeah, especially off of this World Super Series. You know, these guys coming together, that's some good stuff. That Josh Taylor and Prograis fight gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight for boxing. Do you guys feel that?
Yeah, I really do. It's just sad that, you know, I'm already knowing it's not going to get the attention that it deserves, and therefore, you know, a lot of the fans, they ain't going to be praising it, you know, the winner how they should. You know, I can see that coming out, and that's, you know, it has to do with the network that it's on, obviously, for us Americans. But like I said, I don't care about that, man. We over here praising, they over here praising, you know, calling the newie, well, like number, I don't know, number one or whatever they had him at. So my thing is, hey, winner
I
this.
don't know about that. I don't even got him on my pound for pound out, and I like him more. You know I mean, I don't even have, and I'm the one defending him about him going to weight classes fighting number one dude. Cause that pin, I forgot what that dude's name was that he fought, man, but he was a number one dude too. That weight class before. That's why I felt you talk about dudes is ducking. This dude has what Mankind used to tell us, testicular fortitude. He's fighting number one guys when he's moving up. You know what I mean? Shoot, dudes like Carl Frampton and what's the name wasn't doing that when they was ducking Rigondeaux. They went up and was ducking and fighting for vacant belts and design matches like that. This is a dude that entered the World Boxing Series. You gotta understand, champions be trying to duck the World Boxing Series. So any dude, I don't even care if you won or lost, you put it all on the line to go in the World Boxing Series. I'm gonna be credit because I know it's easy to do more resources in say Ramirez and be comfortable with your title and have them design matches. If you in that World Boxing Series, I'm not going to front. There's that element of the unknown. I ain't gonna lie. You gotta to enter in that competition in the first place. You gotta already have a mentality that's gonna be from your upbringing, from what type of person you are. That you gotta have no fear of the unknown. You gotta program your mind like that because you can end up losing your belt, and then another person advancing and ended up winning 2 titles plus a trophy, and then you sick. Like, dang, yo, I went into the competition with a belt and everything, and now I'm leaving with nothing.
Yeah, speaking of Frampton, what's up with him? Is he fighting still? Is he done decided?
That
he just got smashed on.
That punk motherfucker commentating. Josh Warrington had him looking like Willie Lumpkin.
Smashed on.
Yeah, I know he lost to Warrington, but I'm just saying.
And I told everybody that. And all the brothers were saying, no, hey, da. Me and I ain't gonna lie, Matt, me and Stay Ready was like, yo, y'all bugging. You know, that everybody was picking Carl Frampton in that fight. And I'm like, why? I was so surprised. Like, don't get me wrong, Carl Frampton's a decent boxer. He ain't nothing special. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't think that somebody that can overwhelm him with punches that's not a better boxer can't beat him? He's not no supreme boxer like that. Like Stormy B said, the last supreme boxer to me, like of this era, was Mayweather.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That could take something away from.
Hey, and I swear, you know, now that we speaking about them, I'm gonna make, you know, 2 points. one, like all them dudes, I feel like that whole little duck ego, that whole situation, homie, that's what probably ruined these whole, weight classes as far as fans like us. You had a stacked division at 126 and 122. And all these dudes just, all these dudes, like, bruh, how the hell you got, okay, Rigo was a title holder, and he begging to fight his mandatory or the interim guy, and that dude saying no, he rather go fight domestic clashes with Scott Quigg and stuff. That was disgusting, homie. I think that's what really ruined just all the hype about that, because that left a taste in everybody's mouth. And then Rigo, he ended up losing at the end with the whole Lomachenko thing. That left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, man. And then, go ahead.
The most corrupt. My fool will tell you off, Ivy. But look what the WBA did to Rigo. They said if you lose to Lomachenko, we're taking your belt. But the fight ain't at 122. It's at 130.
That was ridiculous.
Why are you taking my belt? So that's why I had to remind people of that before you sit here and turn to the WBC. One thing I can say, the WBC wouldn't even have stooped that low. I don't even think they would have stripped you for no reason like that. Like that was kind of crazy.
That was very crazy, man. I didn't like that at all, man, how they played him.
Like why should he have lost his title? He should have at least been able to do that for putting it all on the line.
It seemed like they was just punishing him for being too good, at his own weight,
And not to get too off topic, but I do just got to comment on the WBSS. I'm glad that the WBSS, it moves a lot faster than the what's his name, than the remember the Super Six some years ago, man. That it was like just so many injuries.
Yeah,
and it was slow.
Even with that, Hyphy, I can't even fully say they was the WBSS is perfect, because there was a point where we might not even have got that Ivan Baran check and Josh Taylor fight, because they was talking about canceling it because a lot of the fighters didn't get paid.
Yeah, man. But this is, one thing you have to look at too is that if the fans were to be more on top of what's important in the sport, as opposed to the sidebar distractions, the fighters wouldn't have anywhere to go. But you create these corners for them to hide behind with these BS narratives that you make unofficially important. It's like you give them a way out. And fans got to stop doing that, man. They got to start putting the guys' feet to the fire and be like, hey, we want to see you fight this guy over here. He's, you say you the best, he say he the best. Y'all need to scrap it out and let's see what happens. There's not enough of that.
Yeah, it's not that all the divisions is weak. It's just, look, man, it's gonna be some fighters that don't have a big following in all of these divisions. That don't mean that they can't fight. You can just match these dudes up in the ring and see what happens. Even 168 could get it cracking like that, but y'all just gotta make them fights.
Yeah, we got Macadon One who's jumped into the chat with us, Reggie Owens and Lawrence Williams. Salute to everybody that just joined us. We got Lawrence Williams said that Hanna Gabriel lost her WBO 154 title when she moved up to fight Clarissa. And Clifton Bronson says Hanna Gabriel deserves a rematch if Shields comes down to fight Brackus at a catchweight. Man, Clarissa Shields, her performance against Christina Hammer was excellent, man. she fought a very complete fight, and you know, she did very well. I was very proud of her performance that night. Very proud.
Hey, Stormy.
Yes.
So far this year, and I might be forgetting some fights, but just three top performances. I'm gonna say it was Clarissa, Crawford, and J Rock. And then, I guess you could throw in Deontay because, hey, if you could not get a guy out of there in one round,
No, you
ain't
Yeah,
have
nobody
those,
mad at that.
those,
you have
Hyphy, you know what? You're on to something there. Those might be the top 4 performances this year
I ain't
thus
gonna front, but
far.
J Rocks was #1 for me so far.
Yeah.
I gotta
Oh,
give it to
I forgot about I forgot about Earl. I'm not gonna do him like that. I did forget about Earl,
Well,
even
that
that's
though
what
was
I'm
a
saying.
good that was a
If
good
you went top
performance.
5, Earl's fight would round out 5, and you could
Yeah,
switch those around according to who you like, who's number 1. But those are the top 5 performances of the year, I feel.
and I'm not even a big J Rock fan like that, but his is #1 in mine. If you come to me and you ask me so far, it's still, the year isn't over. There's still a lot more boxing to happen. We got a whole winter, what I mean, coming up. So a
Oh,
whole summer. Sorry, we ain't even get through the summer. A whole summer
yeah.
and then a whole winter coming up.
Well,
So
that's what's exciting, Act. That's what's exciting because even though we haven't gotten all the fights that we really wanted to see, we've had enough of something that was really good to like satisfy the appetite as a boxing purist. It's like, of course, we still want those fights that we really really want, but my goodness, there have been some great performances that we can't overlook, that we can't push them to the side like it's not important, you know. And like you said, we're not even in June yet, you know, 6 months into the year. We're not even there yet, but it's been really exciting. This is actually, to me, probably one of the best half a year of boxing in a long time. In a long time. When you really look at some of the performances that you've seen, and when you've seen some of the matchups, because some of the fights have been better than what they were on paper. You know what I mean?
yeah, the J
yeah, and go ahead.
The J, oh, sorry. The J Rock and the Jared Hurd fight was better than I even anticipated. And I like put out the blueprint too, how he can win the fight. But and I was wrong for that. So, like I said, I always apologize to J Rock for that, because I picked Jared Hurd, even though I seen the keys. And I pointed that out how he needed to win the fight. And he fought and did what I said he needed to do, fight on the outside a little bit, but at the inside. But the only thing is, I felt like J Rock just stayed majority of the time on the inside and just beat him. He was the better inside fighter to me anyway.
Hey,
Yeah.
and then that's true too. I'm looking at the chat, and yeah, it was that Danny Roman versus T.J. Doheny. To me, that's definitely a fight of the year candidate too, and that was 2 weekends ago. So 2 weekends ago, you got that, and on the same weekend, you got I mean, not on the same weekend, but shortly after, you got the J Rock performance. So these last few weekends, it's been heating up.
Yeah, and Caleb Plant over Uzataki, you know, that was a good performance. You know, Plant boxed his butt off in that fight, man.
Yeah,
He
he
really
fighting some
did.
dude named Mike Lee. I don't know who this dude is. This is looking like one of them fights where they were handpicked. Rock. I had to
You
go through
ain't been hungry since you won that title, Rock.
He said he'll knock you tomorrow, Rock.
Yeah, we got a couple more people that have joined us. Macadon One is in there. Mark Wonderluck says Stormy B-Man salute. What's up? Lawrence Williams is here. Reggie Owens says salute my brother at Clifton Bronston. Eubank over DeGale was a good performance, Lawrence Williams says. Yeah, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know, when you see these guys, like, what's funny is that some of the fights that we seeing that are championship fights are really fights that should be contenders vying for a championship fight. But because the titles are changing hands so fast, and guys are vacating and moving up and stuff like that, trying to chase world titles in different divisions, you're seeing contenders who are fighting in championship fights, but they're really contenders and they're on that learning curve. It's like, I like to say that other heavyweight champion who's got all those belts, and I don't say his name a lot on my channel, I just don't. But that guy, he's a prospect with belts, you know? And if you look at his performances, he's plateaued. He has not gotten any better in any performance. His performances are basically the same. And one of the things that I was talking about is how he has been allowed to hold his titles. He's not really making a lot of defenses, but he's got 3 belts, right? And he's not fighting, he's not active. The young prospects that are coming up behind him are soon, by next year even, they're going to be vying for #1 contending spots for those belts. And he can slip easily on a banana peel against some of these guys because they're growing. He'll be able to say he's held these titles for 3, 4 years, 5 years, but he ain't fought people. In the meantime, our heavyweight champion over here is turning lights out on everybody he faced. You understand? In an exciting fashion. And some of those guys don't even want to face him. You know,
what if Andy Ruiz do the impossible?
What's that?
I said, what if Andy Ruiz, this is for everybody, chat panel, what if Andy Ruiz do the impossible? Like a lot of people felt like J-Rock did. Because J-Rock made everything exciting again. He made
I'll tell you this, Ak.
If anybody takes a lose,
it could happen.
Like, it'll be okay.
It could happen. You know why it could happen, Ak? This guy who has the belts, he has all the physical attributes. I didn't say technical skill. He has all the physical attributes that should put him in favor. But Ruiz has something that he don't even have. Intestinal fortitude that has been on display. And if you get this guy in a situation where he's under pressure, I think he could crack. But it's going to take the right person to do it. Is Ruiz that guy? Quite possibly. Ruiz could come in there and say, you know what? This is my night. This guy got the belts. I could make a new life for me and my family and go out there and fight way above anything that you've seen him do before. Do you think that the champion is going to go into this fight and say, Deontay Wilder really put on a spectacular performance a couple weeks back. I got to try to outdo him. So I'm going to smash this guy. That's not his temperament. It's not. And like I said, he's been laying back, doing interviews, making commercials and stuff, and you know, lifting weights.
And that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. What you saying right there, Stormy B. That's exactly what I was about to get at to add on what you said. What's basically happening here is I think Anthony Joshua's really comfortable. I see him taking pictures with Meek Mill. I see him in Miami and all of that. He's looking like he's not taking Andy Ruiz seriously. I feel
this guy could hit him on his chin and change everything. And he don't have the sternest chin. He don't. And you know, you're talking about they say Danny Dubois has knocked him out in sparring. Okay. Danny Dubois just fought his 9th professional fight. 9th. But he knocked him out in sparring like over a year ago, 2 years ago. So again, that's one of the guys with 10 professional fights by the end of this year, at least going into next year, he get another 4 or 5 fights under his belt. He's going to be challenging for one of those belts. Then you got the Effie Ajabas and those guys out there. You know, there are other people who are lining up and positioning themselves. Somebody's going to have to pee or get on pot, man. Let's see, we got Broderick Hunter who's joined us. Hey, Broderick, what's happening? Good to see you out there. Derek Bailey says, facts again, Stormy B, man. Lawrence Williams said Dubois will have his 3rd fight on July 13th. See, that's what I'm talking about. That guy's active, man. King Louis says, Mark Wonderluck, salute. Lawrence Williams says, FA 3rd fight will be on Maul's card June 29th. Jay Dixon says, GG, salute, what it do? Clifton Bronson says, the kickboxer who retired Lamont Peterson. I'm a low-key fan. And Broderick Hunter says, I don't think it's impossible, talking about Ruiz upsetting the champion. And Jay Dixon says, Lipinets and Peterson. Derek Bailey says, say his name, Stormy B, man. I ain't saying that chump name. Clifton Bronson says,
it's Mr. Johnson.
He ain't at, huh?
I says Mr. Johnson.
The basketball guy. Stay Ready is in here with us. He says, salute OG, Hyphy, and Quattro. What's going on, Stay Ready? Hey, Stay Ready. You want to get on with us, brother? We got about another 20 minutes to go. If you want to come on with us, you can, brother. You're welcome. Sir Ken says, stay ready. Salute. Miss you. Clifton Bronson says, when Igbo lost the first time to Navarrete. Yeah, hey, you know what? That was a good fight. Because at that point, we didn't know how limited Dog Bay was because he was looking good against who he was matched up with. But when he had a guy who could fight back, you know, and everything, things really changed, man. You know, and I don't think Dog Bay is going to be the same ever. That kid beat the fight out of him. And his dad wasn't smart enough to save him. You know, it's ridiculous that he let him take a pounding like that. What did you think about that, Dog Bay and Navarrete act? What did you think about that?
I caught the end of that fight.
Huh?
I said I caught the end of that fight. Like end. And I seen I think it was like the 11th or the 12th round he had got dropped. And Dog Bay, he looked like his face was all swelled up. He got painted. He looked really bad. You know, a lot of people was telling me the fight should have been stopped sooner, but I didn't get to see the whole duration of the fight, so I can't fully. But from what I seen, that last little bit that I seen, he was looking really terrible. Like, I ain't gonna lie, he looked like he should have retired. And he's young. He only 22, 23. But he was already looking like he needed to retire.
Hey, see, to me, those is the worst type of losses because in that fight, not only did he get beat clearly for 12 rounds, and then he ended up getting stopped. To me, that rematch was like round 13, and you know what I'm saying, Navarrete, he just built up on that from the first fight and just, you know, went from there. But yeah, that's the worst type of loss because you got beat for 12 rounds and then you got knocked out. You know, in your heart, on your best day, you can't beat that, man. So that dude, he got to find a way. You don't know if he ever going to be the same because took that man confidence. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he got him the hell up out of there.
Yeah, that wasn't a good. Now, see, what I would have done, being both the trainer or even the manager that of Dog Bay, what I would have suggested is after the Navarrete lost the first time, I would have suggested that we go and find some guys who have similar height and reach, and we work on some defensive tactics to be offensive off of what they do. In other words, to work your way in, because you're working at a disadvantage because of the height and reach, right? but that's something that you just can't do in a training camp. You have to have a couple of fights along with sparring partners who could come in and simulate what you're going to face in the live fight. So it's like that's something that's going to require, 6 to 8 months preparation. You take a couple of fights, you have a few camps, you bring these different sparring partners in to work on some things where you get it down, and then you go back after that guy. They went right back in 4 or 5 months later after he got his butt kicked the first time and didn't change anything. You're going to get the same stupid result, man. What are you doing? Hey, I want to welcome Stay Ready. Mac, what's good, man? Thanks for joining us, bro.
What's good, my brother? What's good? Man, I'm sitting here sipping, getting my weekend started. My birthday Sunday, so I'm already turning up. Y'all probably ain't gonna get no
Happy
videos.
birthday, bro. Happy birthday.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I heard my brother.
Yeah, I probably won't do no videos this weekend. Y'all might see a video of me fishing, because I am going fishing this weekend, y'all. That's about it.
I know you got either some Remy or some Remy.
Actually,
one of them.
I went and bought a bottle of that Masters Blend Hennessy, that $100 bottle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said, fuck it, I'm gonna splurge. It's my birthday. This is a present to me.
Yeah, well, enjoy yourself, brother. Have a good time. Just do as you please.
Oh yeah, I'm at home. I ain't driving, so I'm good. I'm good. So what y'all cooking on?
One moment. I want to take a moment and go right back to the chat because we got a couple of comments on what was just being spoke about. We was talking about Dog Bay and Navarrete, revisiting that mismatch. Macadon 1 says Dog Bay is done, in my opinion. Clifton Bronson says Dog Bay will never be the same again. King Louis says fact, Dog Bay won't be the same. Derek Bailey says it was the first fight all over again. Absolutely. And Macadon 1 says I call him that because his ass got booed up. And Jay Dixon says that guy was too long for Dog Bay with his skill set. And let's see. Sir Ken says, smash the like button, my people. Yes, sir. Reggie Owen says, happy birthday, my brother, and stay ready. And Macadon 1 says, happy solar return, bro. And Bottom of the Cali is here, but he retracted his message. Broderick Hunter says, he got his ass kicked back to back. Bad. He may not have any confidence left. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's exactly what we were just saying. That was a total mismanagement of his career and matchmaking. And I said after the fight, I was like, he should go find something else to do. He had been better off being a horse jockey or something, man, with his little stuff.
Hey, I'm gonna say this though: if he can fuck around and get away from his father and get some real training and some real sparring, he might can revitalize his career. But sitting there sparring your cousins and your homeboys in the hood and the local homeless man out there on the street, that ain't gonna teach you how to fight these professional fighters out here, man.
Absolutely.
You need to really get out there and fight different styles, because that's why you got your ass whooped. It wasn't so much of him not being a great boxer, because Ozzy Dog is a good boxer. But you can't keep sparring these people that you spar on a regular basis just to tune up your own skills. You got to get yourself ready for the next skill and the next skill level. And
Mac, this is what I said about guys like him and Sean Porter, right? Because I consider them similar because of their stature at the weights where they fight. If those guys had brought in additional coaching to coach certain aspects of the sport for them, like you bring a Kevin Rooney in to teach him the defensive techniques that were under the Customato philosophy of slip and punch, slip and counter, because Mike Tyson was extremely dynamic and effective with that, and so was Floyd Patterson and Jose Torres, who, they were all pupils of Customato School of Boxing. When guys have those limitations on their physical attributes, you have to do certain things and teach them so that they can be competitive, even though they have those deficiencies. You can turn them into strengths if you have someone who can teach them the keys of what to do. Do you guys on the panel agree with what I'm saying?
I do agree with you, especially being a shorter fighter.
Yeah. What about you, Quattro?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
I'm surprised that nobody has went after Kevin Rooney so they could learn that defensive uh, agility like Mike Tyson developed early in his career. And it's
And to be
really for
honest,
young fighters. It's not for someone who, like Sean Porter, is too old for that now.
to
But
be
if you had
honest,
taken Sean Porter back 10 fights ago, he could have brought Kevin Rooney in to teach him some things. And he
I
would have
thought
been
Kevin
very
Rooney.
successful.
I think that's the perfect person that would have fit Kevin Rooney's style. I think because if you could take somebody like Vinny Pazienza, also not just Tyson, who in the second stage of Vinny Pazienza's career, and he made him a champion again. Because I ain't gonna lie, I was never too big on Vinny Pazienza, but Vinny Pazienza, I have to respect it. He was a two-time world champion, and the second title he got it with Kevin Rooney. I gotta
Yeah.
respect him. If you
And
could take somebody
he
like that,
learned
I
to
gotta
be
give
more
you credit.
dynamic, and not just be out there to receive shots. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was about. It was about tightening up his defensive. We know he could fight. You know, that's not the hard part. The other act of it is not get hit. Hit and not get hit. Not hit and get hit. You know what I'm saying?
And Vinny Pazienza was a dude that got hit. So,
A lot.
so a lot. Shoot, he was the dude that Roy Jones always holds that record for no punches landed in a round.
Yeah, exactly. You know, exactly. So hey, that's what I say. Hey, Hyphy, what you think? You a little quiet over there. What do you think about like having a guy like Kevin Rooney to help tighten up those guys' defense when they're short or have smaller advantages like that, disadvantages?
Man, I wish he would have been around when Klitschko was going on his goddamn reign. I'm telling you, man, I'm just so tired. Or at least I was so tired of seeing all these dudes talk all this shit about, oh yeah, he's never fought anybody like me. My power is so amazing. I got a solution for the job. And then they go in and fight Klitschko and they just hypnotized by that goddamn jab. I wish, he would have been training some of them dudes 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense, man. Hey, Mac, why you not talking? Hit that mute, man, because you got a little feedback going, bro. Thanks, bro. Going back to the chat for a quick second because we got a couple of comments. Let's see. Jay Dixon says, same thing happens to Hurd if he goes right back with J Rock. Yeah, I can see that happen. Clifton Bronson says, Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully we'll get some good boxing this weekend. Bottom of Cali says, stay ready. Happy birthday. Reggie Owen says, what's up, my brother Hyphy? Roderick Hunter says, at Derek Bailey. Clifton Bronson says, Stormybman and Act, break down Kevin Rooney's technique, please. And he also says, is it just jab, jab, grab? And Broderick Hunter says, do you guys hear that noise? Yeah, we just addressed that. Hey, Act, how do you break down Kevin Rooney's boxing philosophy? What do you see when you see a fighter who was trained by Kevin Rooney? And then I'll add what I have to say. I'll let you go first.
I do agree with the hit and not be hit. I do think that he made Vinny Pazienza a counter puncher more than a boxer puncher. I feel like in the second stage of his career. I feel like he was able to transition Vinny Pazienza into that. And I also think that he also likes not even the technical aspect. I'm looking at the mental aspect of Kevin Rooney because here Vinny Pazienza he was draining himself to make weight. Roger Mayweather just beat him up. You know, he had a couple bad outings. He was in the hospital. You know, and then Kevin Rooney, you know, who got off of that hiatus with Mike Tyson. You know, these guys met in the middle of both of their, you know, like tail end, I want to say, of their career, but it was like a second coming of both of their careers, and they kind of revitalized each other. So I think in the mental aspect, also, you got to be able to have that in the coach because some dudes you can't teach them anything else. A lot
Right.
of dudes is well trained. Sometimes you gotta be able to train them mentally now. I think when you're a good coach, you're able to do that too. Able to bring out the mental aspects of the person, like, especially that week of the fight or tournament or exhibition, whatever you're doing, that you not training and then you and your coach just go over the game plan and him, just coaching you mentally, so I think that that's a thing that Kevin Rooney has that's kind of a lost start today. I think that was a lot of the reason why I think that Vinny Pazienza was able to come back. And I'm trying to tell you, a lunch pail worker dude like Vinny Pazienza able to win a second world title when he wasn't even a great fighter in the first place.
But I'm gonna tell y'all something. I think Kevin Rooney might just be fine where he is. He might, how old is Kevin Rooney now?
He's probably,
Because I know he old.
yeah, he's probably 60. He's about the same age as Freddie Roach. About the same age.
Yeah, so what's that, about 65?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he might not be trying to train. But then you do have fighters like James the Beast Wilson. He has that style. And he can continue to push that on because he fights like that. He slips like that. He throws those short body hooks, but he's short and he can kind of launch himself in and get inside like that Tyson style. I think he could be the one to train people because he's undefeated as a fighter, but he's older and he's only had 6 or 7 fights as a pro. If that, he might not have had that.
Well, what I have to offer on that is this. See, when fighters have physical attributes that are at an extreme disadvantage, you have to develop something that will work for them so that they can be successful, because on average, they're fighting at a disadvantage. So you have to level the playing field. You have to devise a system for that fighter to level the playing field. And for fighters like Sean Porter, Isaac Dogboe, those guys are perfect examples of what I'm talking about when you have to add something to what they do. They already do what they do pretty good. But what will put them over the top is putting them in an advantage where you turn their physical disadvantages into strengths. And that's what the Cus D'Amato style did for fighters who were limited. The peekaboo defense of keeping that high guard, it's not just about that. What it's about is you develop an acute timing for shots that are coming at you and a numerical combination punch chart of what you throw off of what the opponent does to you. And at the same time, you have to have a certain amount of footwork that will allow you to be successful. So in other words, if you're on the outside, you have to wait for the guy to jab at you or throw something at you, and you respond in kind. But when you respond, you have to move in, but you don't move straight in, you move in on an angle. and then you work off of that. And it's something that has to be practiced, like I said, primarily with fighters that are young, that are youthful. It's hard to teach an older fighter those type of things. You can only remind him of where to keep his guard and what punches to throw. But the way to move the body to get in a rhythm, that takes, it's better when you're starting at a younger age, so you could actually get into it. When Tyson got away from that, his career went down immediately. When he was training under those nuances, he was very successful because he was elusive. You couldn't hit him with a clean shot. You might catch him 2 times or 3 times with a solid shot in a 12-round fight. And that's not a lot. You know, because the punches are off his arms, it's off his gloves, and it's missing over his head and off his sides. People couldn't even go to his body because of how he fought out of a crouch. You understand? So it's like when you saw him when he was standing straight up after losing to Buster Douglas, the fights against Razor Ruddock and things like that, you were looking at a different fighter. But the fighter who had more dexterity before losing to Buster Douglas, he had head movement, bobbing and weaving. His footwork was very fast and quick. His hand speed was very fast and quick. And people remember him knocking folks out, but Tyson wasn't a big one-punch knockout fighter. Tyson was knocking people out with combinations. That's what people fail to realize. You go back and look at the highlights of his fights. Tyson was hitting people like boom, 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 and they would go down. Or boom, 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 and they go down. It wasn't just one single shot. You know,
to add on to what you're saying, you 100% right. And Tyson was so quick that a lot of times those quick first round knockouts, it was actually 2-piece combos because he'd launch in there with a body shot first.
Yeah.
And when he went up top, you didn't see that punch, so he caught you with a blinded shot. That's what knocked you out.
Exactly. And Cus D'Amato's philosophy was, if you throw a left hook to the body, you follow with a right hook to the head, because the person can't block both sides and both angles at the same time. So if you throw a double hook to the left, you throw a double hook to the right, but at a different trajectory. You'd be high or low, the opposite. And that's what Tyson would do. You remember how he used to throw body, head? Because he throw the 2 at the body and you drop your hands and he hit you in the head, your head wide open. Because he punches hard enough, but it's the numerical system. It makes total sense. It's a science. And Cus D'Amato had broken that down. Remember, he had Floyd Patterson as a champion at the heavyweight division who didn't have the sternest chin at all. And he's a 2-time world champion off of Cus D'Amato's style. And then later Jose Torres. So it's like these fighters understood that. And they were taught that, and they built and honed their craft on that. Tyson was the most successful because he had the most athleticism, speed, and power as a combination. It all worked very efficiently for him. But don't ever forget this. Tyson fought out of a crouch. He didn't bob and weave like Joe Frazier. He fought out of a crouch, and he would spring into people, you know, and like I said, with a succession of combinations. Joe Frazier would bob, weave, and launch a left hook. That's not what Tyson would do. Tyson was very skillful in what he was doing. But like I said, when he got away from Kevin Rooney, the Michael Spinks fight was the last that you saw of that, because he never trained in those aspects anymore. Even though they would try to simulate what Kevin Rooney was doing with him, Jay Bright and Aaron Snow, those guys who took over his career later, they were not doing the same things that Kevin Rooney was doing with Tyson, because Kevin Rooney had Tyson's ear and he had his respect.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. And I think that Kevin Rooney could also touch him psychologically. I don't know if the other dudes had that power. You know, him training under Cus D'Amato, and them all being stringing from the same cloth. I think that played a big factor in and Mike's psyche and stuff like that. So I agree 100% with what you're saying.
Yeah. So that made a total difference when having all of that, and when he was able to apply that to what he was doing in the ring. He was so fierce, man. But that's why it would take a skilled fighter to beat him, and you didn't have a lot of that during his run and era. Buster beat him with a similar style that Ali would have had he faced Ali, But that on that night, Buster fought above himself. He had the skill set, he had the physical attributes, speed, power, and just enough lateral movement. But imagine Ali's movement in there. Tyson wouldn't have stood a chance. And there are a lot of people who think that Tyson would have given Muhammad Ali a good fight. I don't see that at all. Because
it wouldn't have been close.
Huh?
It wouldn't have been. I said it wouldn't have been close.
No, not at all. Not at all. And even Mike knows that. But and that's not to disrespect or crap on anything that Mike has accomplished in his career, because you just heard me say, that he, at his best, he was so dynamic and had that dexterity that's what people couldn't contend with, because he fought scientifically, even though it looked physical because of the results he was getting. It was very technical. I remember a fight with he and Reggie Gross, where Reggie Gross threw a series of punches at him, like 17 to 20 punches. He just launched. He got tired of Mike coming in on him, and Mike evaded each and every one of those shots and then knocked him down with a left hook counter. It looked like the dude had been shot. And he wasn't knocked out because he got up from that knockdown, and then eventually Mike, after the ref gave him his standing count, Mike followed up with a succession of punches and took him out. But that guy launched all those shots at Mike, and Mike evaded them and ducked and bobbed and weaved under all of those shots, and then nailed the guy with a left hook because he was wide open. That was skillful. You didn't do that because you threw a punch and got lucky. He did it because he was good at what he was doing defensively. I didn't mean to make the whole panel quiet. You brothers ain't got nothing to say. It's like,
no, I'm just listening.
I thought you were still going.
I paused.
Nah, but yeah, like you were saying, as far as the whole, getting away from certain things and staying with training and stuff like that. I think like I said, there's a mental capacity with that too. I think those coaches that are able to touch you like mentally, because it's like I see like different coaches could touch you differently. Because I see Derek James with Jamel Charlo, and I see how Ronnie Shields was with him, and I just see like it's different. It's different things. Like I think he really did learn how to sit on his shots better with Derek James, but I think his overall his ability to box, he like kind of strayed away from that. When he left Ronnie Shields. He thought that he was more than a knockout puncher when he got with Derek James.
Yeah. Ronnie Shields is a very good boxing coach, man. Very good boxing coach. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves, but he was one of those that came up with Georgie Benton and Lou Duva and those guys when they were working with the great Holyfields and Whitakers and all of those. Ronnie Shields was there, and the information that he has to pass on to his young proteges is invaluable. I hope that these brothers are taking it in and learning as much as they can from him. So let's see. We got a few more comments here in the chat. It's kind of jumping on me now. Let's see. We have Justin Taylor, who's joined us. He says, "What up, Stormy? What's up, Justin Taylor?" Lawrence Williams has to offer. He says, "Rooney's fighters brings head movement and the peekaboo defense. He also focused on the punch numbers by getting his fighter used to those punches in certain parts of the body." Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. And Clifton Bronson says, "That's right, Lawrence Williams." And Lawrence says, "Rooney took a vicious right hand from Alexis Arguello. He sure did. He damn near killed him with that right hand." Sierra F says, "Happy birthday, stay ready." Lawrence Williams says, "Bone Crusher dropped Tyson, but the ref called it a slip." Laugh out loud. Clifton Bronson says, "Yep." Lawrence Williams says, "Mike had one punch KOs versus Tillman and Bolter." Yeah. Joseph Brown says, "Salute to the OGs on the panel." Lawrence Williams says, "Aaron Snow may be the worst big fight trainer ever. Possibly one of them. If he's not, he's up there." Clifton Bronson says, "Tyson was brewing that style as a kid." Reggie Owen says, "Tyson was bad." Sir Ken says, "Preach, Stormy B, man." Roderick Hunter says, "Do you guys remember the neck twitch Tyson used to have pre-fight? It was a sign of his mental focus, in my opinion. No twitch when he fought Douglas. He was a different style fighter." P Money says, "Salute, Stormy B, man." Hyphy, Quattro Cinco, Stay Ready, and the Wrench Gang. All the family in the chat had to come through and show love. Thanks, P Money. Salute to you. And I'm gonna stop it right there. But with Broderick Hunter's comment, guys, do you guys remember that? What he's talking about? That Tyson had that little neck twitch that he would do. I know exactly what that was. Do you guys know what that was? I'll start with you, Quattro. What do you think?
Nah, I do know what you're talking about. I didn't I didn't fully know what it was.
Okay. What about you, Hyphy? Do you know what that was?
No, you know what? I definitely noticed it, but no, I don't know, exactly what it was. Y'all can break it down for me.
Okay. I know my man Mac should know. Mac, what do you think it was?
I saw it. I can't sit there and tell you exactly what it was, but I know what he used to do. I used to see him do it before every fight, and y'all right, he didn't do it in the Douglas fight, because I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, damn, did he do that before the fight? And he used to do that shit. But you know what? I think it was a intimidation tactic too.
No, I'm gonna tell you exactly what it was. He never did it after the Michael Spinks fight again, and I'll tell you what it was. It was a part of a neck exercise of head movement that he did in the gyms, precisely with Kevin Rooney, with the anticipation of punches, that he would move his head a certain kind of way. It's almost like, when you see Canelo, when he's fighting, and sometimes when guys throw a shot at his head, how he turns his head, right? And he turns his head. Sometimes he'll make a guy completely miss with that head movement, or the puncher miss just by inches. That's what was so precise about Kevin Rooney working with Mike Tyson. It was something that they were doing in the gym, that he had him anticipating shots. And even in the pre-fight, when he would get in the ring, it was a natural reflective action that he would do, because he was honed like an engine in a car. When you getting ready to race and the car is revving and it's just the engine is idling, is ready to go. That's what Tyson, he had that in his upper body movement. But it wasn't just his neck and head. It was actually his entire upper body that he had certain twitch. I'm trying to find a way to put it in proper words and terms. He had a certain kind of twitch of movement to evade shots. It was a practice they had in the gym. And when he come into the ring, he was just doing it. It was a reflective action. It's the same thing as when guys are standing there shadow boxing and throwing punches, keeping themselves loose. It's the same thing. I'm telling you, the man, you couldn't hit him with clean shots.
I know one of the things he did was the maze ball. You know the maze ball that you hang up and you throw and you touch it and you hit it and then you move your head. You make sure that you split the punches with it. You know what I'm talking about, right,
Oh
Stormy?
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But remember, he continued to use that even when he was no longer with Rooney. But there was something.
Oh, he still did it. Oh, he still did it.
Oh yeah, because they would hang that up in the gym. They had him doing that. Aaron Snow even had him. Like if you go back and look at I think it's the HBO broadcast. It's Tyson's last fight on HBO where he fought Alex Stewart, I think. And there was a real good pre-fight thing that they did on Tyson and Don King there. And you could see Tyson working in the gym with Aaron Snow, where he was shooting jabs at Tyson and Tyson was bobbing and weaving and all of that. But that's simulated like evading jabs. But Kevin Rooney had him doing something specific. And the thing is, there was one other fighter that I saw Kevin Rooney work with. I can't think of the guy's name, though. He's a little guy. He fought with that Tyson type style. Can't think of his name right now. He fought a few times on ESPN. That guy had it too, but it was something that Kevin Rooney would do with them, okay? And they would move their head a certain kind of way. It's something that you have to work on. You just can't do it. Oh, I'm just trying to imitate this. But it was something. It was an exercise.
Yeah, because Anthony Joshua tries to imitate it and he can't do
it. Yeah. It's something that has to do. It's like Tyson had this tremendous upper body movement that was like, I remember working with some guys in the gym and I was trying to do, this was like in the mid 90s. I was trying to do something that I saw him do and I almost hurt myself because he could move his shoulders left to right like a pendulum on a clock, right? But the way he would do it, he could get all the way almost like at a 30-degree angle on each side. And that takes work. That didn't happen overnight. So when you threw shots at him, he could just move his shoulders, not just his head. You understand? He could slip and move. And it was like really dynamic. And you get a great appreciation for that stuff if you watch his early fights, way before he fought Trevor Berbick. Okay, Trevor Berbick is when he became the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Watch any of his fights that came before that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Very awesome. So let's see. Go back to the chat for a minute. Boxing conversations with Reggie Owens. Clifton Bronson says, Reggie Owens, I told him earlier I cried when Tyson lost the first time back then. I see that same energy with Wilder now in this generation. He says, Sir Ken said, yes. King Louis says, muscle memory. Exactly, King Louis. That's kind of what the term I was looking for, muscle memory. I couldn't think of it when I was talking. I said I was trying to find a term. That's what it is, muscle memory. Thank you so much for that, Sir Ken. Sierra F says, yep. 88 Sports Talk says, what's up, everyone? What's up? 88 Sports Talk. Broderick Hunter said, yes, sir, Stormy B Man. Clifton Bronson says, God damn, Stormy B Man, this is shit you learn. Fucking Jules. Yeah, man, this is like you're talking about the technical aspects of boxing here. Justin Taylor says, Stormy, I thought you was about day to day. The twitch in his neck was Tourette's. No, brother. Clifton Bronson says, thought it was Tourette's too. Nope. P Money says, sounds like that military type training he had Mike doing. Quite possibly. I was never in the gym with Kevin Rooney, but I would love to have a sit down and talk to him about Customado's boxing philosophy. There's some stuff to be learned there. You could possibly learn it from Teddy Atlas, but Teddy Atlas is so full of some other garbage that you don't want to hear him talk. Kevin Rooney is more honest. So, brothers, before we begin to wrap it up, I got a question to ask you. What do you guys think about the upcoming fight that's been announced between Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman? And I'll let you guys. I'll let Mac go first since he joined us late. Mac, what do you think?
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really care for the fight, but since we got the fight, I know what they trying to do. But like I was telling the guys the other day, I said I wouldn't be surprised if they let Manny Pacquiao win this fight because it would build Earl Spence. It'll make a bigger. It would bring Earl Spence more fans if he was to fight Manny Pacquiao than if he was to fight Keith Thurman. Don't nobody know who Keith Thurman is, and I keep stressing that over and over and over. More people know Terrence Crawford than they know Keith Thurman. I can go to people right now on the street and ask them, "Do you know Keith Thurman?" But if they, I guarantee you, they know Terrence Crawford. So it's like don't nobody know these guys, but everybody know who Manny Pacquiao is. It could be a passing of the torch in a different way. So I just got to see how this fight gonna turn out. We've been wanting to fight with Earl and Keith Thurman, but I never thought we were. Act got me thinking that we probably ain't gonna never get that fight. He already said he's not gonna fight him this year.
Yeah,
I really don't care for the guy.
So, Hyphy, what do you think, brother?
Oh man, I mean, I'm going against the grain, and I'm looking at everybody else like they crazy. I think Pacquiao gonna slap that dude all across the ring for 12 rounds. Pacquiao gonna smash on Keith, man. Now, a fight, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Hell no, I'm not gonna pay for no goddamn pay-per-view, obviously. But you know, that's about it, man. You know, let's consolidate that WBA title, and then you know what I'm saying, the next dude just get feasted on whoever win that fight. Fight the winner of you know, Earl versus Porter. Bring it.
Dark Truth says in the chat, he says, Ack about to go off again. He talking about Thurman. No, man, it's all good. It's like we you know, this is just some pre-stuff. We can get down to the nitty and gritty of it as it get closer, but since it was just announced, you know, we talked about it. Ack, what you think?
This guy Keith Thurman, man. This guy, man, he's making a mockery of the sport. Once again, me personally, man, I really hope that Pacquiao knocks his block off. I got a confession. I think that Keith Thurman's actually gonna win. I slightly favor him, slightly, but I really want Pacquiao to win. I can't stand this guy. All this guy does is talk. It's the minute you ask him about Earl Spence, he makes a smart ass comment. Not gonna get the fight, baby. Not gonna get the fight. 2020, I already told you. You know, so why do we gotta wait even longer? Why do we have to wait longer for you? Because you've been holding up the sport for so long and you've been paying your sanctioning fee. That's why I look at the WBA more crooked than the WBC. Shit. At least they stripped him, the WBC. Like, nah, you holding up the division. So we got to look at the WBA as more crooked. Because they didn't strip Keith.
All right.
Well, yeah, man.
Y'all ready? You done, Act? Or you got more to say?
Man, only thing I'm gonna say is I do hope that Earl does what he said he's gonna do as far as go to the WBA and see if he can get that title removed, because that's ridiculous. And that's all I really gotta say about that character.
Okay. Well, this is my tidbit on it, brothers. And it's not going to be very popular, as I've been known to say to people on the streams. I say, hey, I'm going to say something that's not very popular right now. This fight is happening because they're about to take those belts away from Keith Thurman. He's been BSing for too long, and he's at a place in the sport where he has lost his competitive edge. He's been inactive. He hasn't fought at a high level in a long time. He's squeaked out a couple of decisions over Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. And he nearly escaped Josecito Lopez. This is Keith Thurman's swan song. It's his pension. It's the end of Keith Thurman. They're not putting this icon in the ring with him to get battered pillar to post. They're not. That's not what this is about. But what's amazing is this. We know that Pacquiao has a questionable past, right? Like he went up in weight and he was knocking out guys and stopping guys like De La Hoya and all of that, right? Remember, Cotto. Some people might even think he was juicing. Whatever they were allowing him to get away with, it's going to happen in this fight too. He couldn't get away with that against Floyd, but Floyd commanded more respect and also notoriety and respect in the sport, where it was like they could put an end or at least cut it off and everything. So Pacquiao probably had to wean off of stuff and everything while he waited for that fight with Floyd. But this fight is also a situation where it's going to be the biggest event ever for Keith Thurman. And he's going to be caught like a deer in the headlights. He is not going to know the pressure that he is going to receive walking to that ring, seeing this man that's going to be across the ring for him in the highest profile fight of his career. He is not ready for that. He's not battle tested for it. He hasn't fought at the level for that. This man is going to get his ass whooped. And Manny Pacquiao is not Josecito Lopez. If he hurts Thurman, he's going to take him out. Thurman can run. You might see him literally take off running away from Pacquiao, because Pacquiao can turn it up. He can fight at different levels of intensity. Okay, he's a little guy. Yes, he is. But boy, he can fight. And Keith Thurman ain't Floyd Mayweather defensively. He's not. Nowhere near. You think he can punch hard? Pacquiao has been hit by bigger guys. He sparred bigger guys. De La Hoya had one of the best left hooks in boxing. Okay? He beat the crap out of Oscar De La Hoya. Do you think Keith Thurman is better than Oscar De La Hoya at this juncture of his career and what he has done in his career? He wasn't even able to decisively beat Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Those were close fights. Fights that maybe called for a run back that he ran away from. This is Keith Thurman's demise, fellas. It's the end of him. The end. One time is out of time. That's what I have to say about that.
All right, well, yeah, we have a real good breakdown once we get closer to that fight, because it's gonna be interesting over the next 2 months, just to build up for the fight overall. We definitely have more to say about it as the weeks close in on us.
And I want to address something in the chat. First of all, I want to say salute to Best Fight the Best, who's joined us. What's up, brother? Good to see you from the graveyard, coming over here to the chop session, man. Want to get you on here with us one day, man.
What's going down,
Money.
DFTB?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
P Money.
I want to say this too. I agree with you. I actually want to pick I've been going back and forth on who I'm picking. I still ain't made my choice yet, but I'm more leaning towards Manny than Keith. Manny is more skillful than Keith. Keith don't have the power. I've been telling y'all this for I don't know how long. Keith not a power puncher. He's not one time. How he get whoever gave him the nickname lied to him because he ain't one time. He not even two times. He don't have
I can sum it up even easier than that, Mac. With this right here, Manny Pacquiao has fought better fighters than Keith Thurman is a fighter. Meaning he has fought better fighters than Keith Thurman, than what Keith Thurman is. He has, and beaten them many times over.
I'm gonna say this. Y'all know I don't like Adrian Broner, but Adrian Broner faster than Keith Thurman.
Yes.
And with that being said, if Manny Pacquiao can time Adrian Broner, what the hell you think he gonna do with Keith Thurman?
Knock him out.
Yeah. Now don't get me wrong.
TKO. I'll take either one.
I'll give you this though. Keith Thurman is a skillful boxer. He's very skillful. He's light on his feet. He does got good footwork, and he can move. He can fight on the back foot. But when he's hurt, because he is hittable. We've seen that in multiple fights. He's very hittable. Sean Porter hurt him. Danny Garcia hurt him. Josecito Lopez really hurt him.
Listen,
Josecito Lopez is a lower class fighter. Manny Pacquiao is quicker than every one of those guys at his old age.
He hit Shane Mosley so hard. Shane Mosley didn't remember the rest of the fight. You understand? Shane Mosley was fighting unconscious. Okay? This man, he's skillful. And he's a little guy that kicks butt. But Keith Thurman is not the toughest man in the world. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The mental pressure of the event alone is going to get to him. What's going to happen when Manny starts laying hands on him? This guy was running from Josecito Lopez. Barely survived the round. I don't think he gets out of the fight. I don't think. What was that?
Josecito Lopez almost got him out of there.
He sure did. And if he could do that, what can Manny do to this guy? Seriously. And what about this? Manny's a freaking southpaw, bro. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a freaking southpaw. He might not even see Manny's straight left hand come and hit him in the chin. He might not even see it. Manny is, yes, 40 years old, but he ain't an old 40 like washed up. You understand? He don't live like a piss poor life out of the ring like some guys have. I'm telling you, they would not have made this fight. They could have made the fight with Earl, but that's a much more dangerous fight. This fight right here is a winnable fight for him.
They got to get their money out of Pac-Man.
And they're going to get it. And they're going to get that belt away from Thurman.
And they tired of Thurman.
Yeah, they're going to get that belt away from him. How long he held that belt now? 3 years? And he fought like twice? Come on, man. Time for him to go sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
So with that being said, brothers, this has been a really great chop session. Mac, I'm sad that you came in late on this, man, but I'm glad you were able to get on. But
man, I just so happened to jump on my YouTube and see what was going on. I seen you live. Let me check my bro out. And man, I said, shit, you offered me to come on. I said, why not? Because I ain't gonna lie to you. For the moment I got off work and got home, I started drinking.
That's okay. Hey, man, this is your celebration time. That's what you're supposed to do. Whatever makes you feel happy, brother. That's what you do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So why don't you go ahead and kick us off with some final words? What you got to say, bro?
Man, appreciate you for sending me that link. Hey man, I hope Devin Haney looks good tomorrow. I'm gonna be looking forward to that fight. You know, because we ain't got really much this weekend. But he gonna be doing his thing this weekend, so I am gonna be looking to just to see what I got, what I'm gonna be looking forward to with him. And I also Austin Trout and Jamal Herring gonna fight this weekend. I don't know if any of you guys gonna be looking forward for Huey Fury, but I'm gonna be looking forward to those other fights though. And man, I'm finna get ready and celebrate this birthday. I'm gonna be 36, so shit, I'm finna poke me some more shots. So turn up one time. I appreciate it. Shout out to my bro Hyphy. I don't get to see him as much no more. And Act, I know you about to do your thing too, man. Salute to you guys, man, and peace. I'm out.
All right.
Peace.
All right, Act, what you got for us, bro?
Yo, man, appreciate you thinking of me and sending me the link, man. This was a great live. Keep doing your thing, bro. Shout out to Hyphy. Shout out to Mac. Y'all look out for me, man. Getting ready to do my late night stream at 12. It's your boy though, Act Reacher, never steer you wrong. I'm out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thanks for joining us. And I'll be listening in on your late night stream too, brother. I ain't got to get up to go to work in the morning, so I will be listening in, so supporting you there. Hyphy, my right hand man, what you got for us, brother?
Oh man, perfect timing. I just came out the store. I'm about to get kind of like my brother Stay Ready. Yeah, you know what I mean? About to get on this stuff also. But yeah, look,
You know what
it
I'm talking
is gonna be a little bit. Yeah. No, I'm talking about. It's gonna be a little drought, this weekend, as we would say, as far as not being too much entertaining boxing this weekend. But like I said, that's what the last 2 weekends was for. If y'all was doing what y'all was supposed to be doing, y'all would have seen at least 6 good fights over the last 2 weeks. Y'all can't complain about that. So let's just, roll into this summertime with some more good fights coming up, and let's just be satisfied with boxing. And for the most part, look, we got BFT out there that's killing the whole heavyweight situation. After that, leave it at that. No more need to talk about these dudes' pockets or just belt holders in general. Let's leave it at that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I just want to say, shout out to the mighty LDBC and the chat, everybody who was out there listening to us, everybody who was out there participating in the chat. It's been a good one. I was able to wrench up a couple of followers out there that have been hanging with me. Tomorrow, I have the Three Wise Men of Boxing show that I do at 10 a.m. Central Time. Is Scrapbook Boxing, Kurt Sugar, and myself. We talk old school boxing. We talk personalities, fights, events, rematches, trilogies, everything on there. And we interact with the chat as well on there. You can drop fights. We could talk about them. It's something that's really catching on. But I'm sorry. As a reminder, because it's holiday weekend, we won't be doing it this Saturday. Tomorrow, we will return next Saturday, June 1st. I forgot I put that reminder out there. So forgive me for that mistake. It won't be tomorrow morning. It'll be next Saturday, June 1st. The Three Wise Men of Boxing will resume because Monday's the holiday and people doing things for the holiday. We got people like Stay Ready out there celebrating his birthday, and we're gonna make sure that everybody get their thing in this weekend. So do what you feel and do as you please. Uh, this has been another episode of the Friday Night Chop Session with Stormybman. I want to thank everybody that came and joined us on the panel. Stay Ready Boxing, Act Reacher, Cuatro Cinco. Brothers, you really helped make the show this evening, and I appreciate your support. And from me to everybody out there, I just want to say peace to everybody and have a great, safe holiday weekend. Watch these good fights. I expect there to be a knockout. So from Stormy B, man, that's all I have right now. I want to say peace.